But first, who celebrates the anniversary of a financial crisis, the fiscal collapse of an economy? I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, we celebrated Christmas, Thanksgiving, and an occasional president's birthday. Well, actually, only the ones that got us off from school. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. This week, President Obama chose to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the near collapse of Wall Street with a backdrop of women dressed appropriately in black. Who does that? Should we now celebrate the 84th anniversary of the stock market crash in 1929? Mr. President, just blocks away in your naval yard, people working for you, gunned down, bleeding and dying, bodies still in the building, suspects still being pursued, schools and daycare centers on lockdown, your city, Washington, shaken to its core. You don't even recognize the enormity of this tragedy. Instead, you go on a political tirade. Even the Senate had enough dignity to cancel business. The Washington Nationals baseball team had enough respect to postpone their game. But hey, you did give those victims a momentary recognition.
Before I begin, let me say a few words about the tragedy that's unfolding not far away from here at the Washington Navy Yard.
As if enough about the dead, on with the living, back to political warfare and class divisiveness. And if there's anyone out there who is still wondering whether the President of the United States stayed up 1 minute past his usual bedtime while two real heroes waited for reinforcements on a rooftop in Benghazi, then I have a beach house to sell you in Idaho. Now, I've never seen the country like this. The divisiveness, the class warfare. This is insanity. Everything's a mess. Your domestic policy, your foreign policy. Now, when you were elected, Mr. President, we were hopeful you would bring our nation together. You promised change. And about the economy?
If I don't have this done in 3 years, then there's going to be a one-term proposition.
Okay. But hey, not to worry. You've got your cheerleaders out there spinning and twirling their batons, like this one.
He's brilliant. He has a vision for our country. He's brilliant, has knowledge of the issues and judgment about what the right path would be, respectful of other people's views.
Brilliant? Seriously? Nancy, put your hands down. If he's so brilliant, why are we struggling to keep our homes, pay our rent, put food on the table, while our incomes keep dropping? If he's so brilliant, why has the poverty rate gone up? Why are middle-class salaries stagnant? Why have people stopped looking for work? Why are we paying more taxes than ever in the history of this country, while the deficit has never been higher? Why? Because this is the most incompetent administration in American history. Mr. President, with all due respect, you bozos start out by sending free machine guns, illegally purchased, to the drug cartels in Mexico, which guns are then used to kill us and Mexican civilians. And then you use the IRS to target your political enemies and then reward them with $70 million in bonuses after they waste millions of our dollars on play acting and porn in hotels, for which, by the way, they have no receipts, which would be enough to land any of us in jail. And don't think that I'm not a little worried about the IRS and being targeted as your political enemy. And that NSA, you know, the one that doesn't even collect phone records, monitored by the FISA court. They're even hiding information from the FISA court itself. And your independent accountability review board on Benghazi, I'm renaming it the Unaccountability Review Board. Since when does an investigator give a heads up to the other side, not transcribe the testimony, and then release a draft report to the accused so that maybe they can change it before it becomes public? And your security clearances, You hand them out like those free cell phones before the election. Edward Snowden, this guy gets fired by the CIA. He keeps his security clearance and then goes on to sell our secrets to the Chinese, and your savior, Russia, hides him. The Navy Yard shooter, he keeps his clearance. That whack job arrested twice for minor shooting incidents, as if any shooting incident is minor. The police even contact the Navy to tell them he's dangerous, and your Navy says they didn't know. You didn't know? Nancy said you were brilliant. How could you not know? You've been dithering for the past 5 years. Last week, it was Syria. We're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. Well, maybe, kinda, I don't know.
Am I interested? I'm not really interested. Should I play like I'm interested, but I'm not that interested? But I think she might be interested, but do I want to be interested? But now she's not interested. So now all of a sudden I'm starting to get interested. And all the while you're just really wondering, are we going to get hopped up enough to make some bad decisions?
Talk about bad decisions. Your signature legislative accomplishment, Obamacare. 60% of the American people don't want it. They can't afford it. Small businesses, they can't handle it. But you pride yourself on its passage.
So to say it as plainly as I can, health care is the single most important thing we can do for America's long-term fiscal health. That is a fact. That's a fact.
But even the unions who trumpeted it want out.
If the Affordable Care Act is not fixed, and it destroys the health and welfare funds that we have all fought for and stand for, then I believe it needs to be repealed.
And you lied, outright lied, when you said this.
Under the reform we're proposing, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
Now, I know you have a problem with the facts, but maybe...
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
What's that? You didn't lie? Well, then who's the idiot who told you to say that? He's been fired, right? Not fired, reassigned, on desk duty, still getting a paycheck. You think he'll take the fifth? And only because I'm a gun owner. Your hometown of Chicago. 2 nights ago, 13 gunned down. Last night, 10 gunned down. And you think banning guns makes people safer? If you're so brilliant, send in the FBI, Homeland Security, send the Marines, send Yosemite Sam, send anyone you have to stop it. And as if things aren't bad enough, you're gearing up for a showdown because the House, assigned with the task of appropriation, says we will fund 99% of the budget, but we're not going to fund Obamacare because of the negative impact on the economy. And you're ready for war, saying your political opponents want to shut down the government. You've even started the phone banks. Wait a minute. The bill the House passed yesterday allows for payments and prevents a government shutdown. And the Full Faith and Credit Act allows the Treasury Department to pay our creditors and avoid default. You know, there's an old African proverb. When elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. When elephants fight, the grass suffers. Brilliant. If you're so brilliant, stop stoking the fires against your political opponents and launching into one of your political tirades. Mr. President, stop fighting, start leading, and start protecting the grass. Coming up, Congressman Darrell Issa on the looming government shutdown and if we'll ever get answers on the Benghazi attack. And Senator Rand Paul on President Obama and how the scandals in his administration will affect his ability to lead. Vote in tonight's Instapoll. Are you better off than you were 5 years ago? Facebook or tweet me at Judge Jeanine, and we'll read your answers later in the show.